Oh. Hi, Erik.
Hey guys.
Whoa.
Let's see, Sandy, Betsy. It's being recorded, so wait a few.
Rosie's here.
Rosie's here. Good.
Rosie about went through the door. There's a bunny just eating some grass right outside the door. That doesn't go over well.
Dogs will be
Right,
dogs, right?
Yep. If the sliding door would come off, she's gonna be the one to make it happen. Oh my gosh. Let's hope not.
All right. Well, we will get started to be respecting people's time, and I'll try to keep my eye on the see if anybody else needs admittance here. But we're just going to go back to the basics of the nutrition seminar, and I kind of rethink the nutrition every year because so much of nutrition is mindset. So I really am going to go through. I came up with, as I'm putting this together, is 6 points here today. The 6 points here, and some of the stuff you've heard before, but sometimes you got to hear it again. I know sometimes I go to like seminars and stuff for personal training, and I hear something and it's like, why did I forget that? Why did I quit doing that? So I'm going to cover these 6 points today. Nothing you probably haven't heard before. Might be a few new things, but we always pour through a lot of nutrition journals with people every week, so we really see what the trends are and why, in our opinion, our professional opinion, why people get stuck. And so, number one thing I want to talk about is just number one is the focused and disciplined mindset when it comes to nutrition. And a lot of people will say, I want to lose weight, I want to lose fat, but the focus and the discipline, frankly, isn't there a lot of times. And you can just see it because stuff doesn't get done. And key things that to get done, like number one thing that tells me somebody's focused is that somebody is really focused on really dialing in their nutrition. They're planning time to shop. They're prepping food ahead of time because we all have busy weeks. I don't think there's anybody that's not busy, and they're planning out their days. They're not just reacting to the days; they're proactive. Excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze here. So, um, but yeah, you block time for what's important, and that's a real important thing. If you can just do that one thing, you will have a lot of success. But a lot of people don't. And what happens? You get into your work week, as you know, and you get busy. And when you're busy and you don't have anything ready to go, it's much easier to make a not so great choice or not the best choice for your meal plan. And a lot of times that choice ends up being, like, I see a lot of Subway, I see a lot of Taco Bell. I saw this week, I'm just thinking of things I saw off the top of my head, even people running like McDonald's and things like that because they get so hungry because they don't have anything available. And by the time they get out of the office or out of the house and get to lunch, they're hungry and they're more prone to make not such a great choice. That's number one, is you got to block time for those things. And I'm not talking about you have to prep exquisite meals. It's grilling season. I'll just grill up, season up some turkey burgers, something like that, or some chicken breasts, or, whatever kind of meat you have, or, put together a salad, pack your lunch the night before. If you're not a morning person, like I can get up and do stuff in the morning, some people can't, but just know yourself and then just be planful, like where are you going to be? When I'm coaching people, it's like, think about your next day coming. Are you going to be out running around? Or are you going to be home working? Um, do you need to bring food with you? Like I have to do this every day because some days I'm at the gym, some days I'm at home. I run and take care of my mom some nights over in Prior Lake. I do a couple of sessions with her a week. So my schedule varies from day to day. So I always have to be thinking about where am I going to be and what do I have access to? So that's it. Shop, prep, and plan is a key part. And then I'm a big believer in what you want to improve, you track. You think about it, if people were trying to improve their financial situation, they would put together a budget. It's hard to know where your money's going and how you're spending it unless you have a budget. Well, it's the same thing with nutrition. A lot of people will give us kickback and say, well, I don't want to track my food. But it's really, really hard to see exactly what you're doing if you don't track it. And it's kind of like if you never looked at your bank account. Back in the day we had our check registry, but if we're going to modern times, you know, you get on your online banking and you take an idea, you know, because you might have forgot about this charge or that one or that expense. And it's really easy to forget about things, even when people are using, you know, apps like MyFitnessPal, and it doesn't actually have to be MyFitnessPal, but having a way to do that. And it's so important because it also makes you more aware of what you're putting in your body. When you're actually writing it down and taking account to it, people just are more conscious about what they're doing. Um, it's really hard to get people results when it's just like, I did eat good, but what did you eat? You know, because a lot of times people are eating things that are sabotaging their results and we can't see it happening, or we can pick up certain habits. Or are you hitting a certain amount of calories on a consistent basis, and how do you know you're hitting that? You know, it's just really hard to do without good objective data. You know, it's really hard to be strong with your nutrition when you're just going by what you think versus what you know. And I'm not saying FitnessPal is perfect or anything. It's definitely not. But you know, I had a physique coach a couple of years ago, and I like this term he used. It called, it's good bad information. As long as you're using the same entries and you're consistent, whatever that information is, it's an index and it can be very consistent over time. So I think whatever you use, you just be consistent with it. So if you're using like a MyFitnessPal, and let's say you're entering something for, like, let's say you do an omelet in the morning, use that same entry over and over and over again. Don't always try to search out new entries. And the nice thing about, you guys know that I've been using FitnessPal, is that they keep track of your entries, so you don't have to go out and do it. You can click those frequently eaten foods over and over again, which I think really builds some good consistency into that. Number 3, and we're still under number 1, focus, discipline, mindset. Know what I call is ho-hum nutrition. You know, this is what's been going on a lot with some of my clients lately, is they're not going forwards with their fat loss. They're not going backwards. They're just kind of stuck in this like purgatory or neutral of not losing or not gaining fat, but not really moving forward, just kind of stuck spinning their wheels. And that whole hum nutrition, really where it starts is, there's a couple things I wrote down about this. What is whole hum nutrition? Well, it's like, well, I did good Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday night rolls around. It's been a stressful week. Oh, you know what? I've worked hard. I deserve this. And they start the ball rolling Friday night. And it might not be a total all like binge eat or something, but they start, you know, giving into some things, a few things here. And then they might eat a good breakfast on Saturday. And then Saturday afternoon, they roll around, they meet a friend and they go have like a caribou treat. Then they eat a pretty healthy dinner, but then they're hungry at night and they eat potato chips. And then they get into Sunday, and then Sundays, you know, they miss breakfast, but then they're hungry after church. And, you know, it's just kind of this taking your foot off the pedal. And when you start doing that on the weekend, on Friday and Sunday, and you're not consistent, and you're letting you're kind of grabbing things and you're not staying on track, that a lot of times will happen is where people will spend, you know, and I know Beth, our old trainer, Beth, you guys know, she said that she did the math, you know, that's like almost a third of your week that you're not really focused. Now I'm a big advocate of a free day, but a lot of times for people, just frankly, free day starts on Friday and goes all the way through Sunday. It's kind of like a 3-day celebration. So really what whole hum nutrition is, that is making sure you stay tight on the weekends and really designate one day as your free day, and it's not a blank check day, and not having 3 days that are you're kind of not focused, just kind of reacting to the day. So I think that's one of the things I see just really gets people going, as they start sometimes the weekend even starts on Thursdays in their mind. Well, I've done 4 good days of the plan. I'm going to let up a little bit here. Oh, you know, what's a little bit here? And then pretty soon the whole weekend's just kind of all over the place. And then the other one I see is the daily indulgences. And I'm going to review the hormone thing, but things that I see sneaking in on a daily basis. And I remember my client years ago, and I tell this story over and over again, is I got a client, she got really pissed off at me because she wasn't losing body fat, and she wouldn't keep a food log. And I shot back at her and said, I want you to write down everything you eat for the next week and show it to me. And back then we didn't have FitnessPal, so she showed me a notebook, and I just remember this was such a eye opener. She was eating a lot of healthy, good choices, but every day there was 1 to 2 things. It was either a caribou drink with a lot of sugar in it, and sometimes it was Great Harvest bread. It was like a muffin. Like every day she had some kind of treat, either 1 or 2 treats, kind of hidden between all the healthy stuff. And so, like a teacher with a red pen, I marked that all up and I circled it, and I showed her on her notebook. I said, look at that. Every day I can circle at 1 or 2 things of sugar that you're having on a daily basis. And she's like, well, I've eaten all other stuff's healthy. But I'm like, every day you do that, you're throwing off your blood sugar. So here's what I want you to do for 2 weeks. I want you to have nothing like that. Let's just see what happens. And literally it was crazy. Like after 2 weeks, you could see a difference in her muscle tone and definition. And she looked leaner. Probably some of it was water weight that she was holding. But a lot of times people will have these daily indulgences, whether it be some kind of sugar thing, some kind of treat, alcohol. And these things do just enough to keep you in that ho-hum, not going forward, that neutral spinning environment. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen this where people let these things sneak in frequently and they don't really think about it because all the other stuff they're eating is pretty healthy, but it's just enough to keep them stuck, and they're just not really moving forward. And then the other thing is on this one, I'm off the whole hum nutrition, but is the discipline versus feelings. We got to learn to let discipline beat feelings. Too often, and this is in our country, is we let our feelings run our lives. We're stressed, we're bored, we're whatever, and we just grab for food. And we have to get to the point. And Tracy knows, as I told this story in my email, but when her and I were training early on, she was doing the tab and the crackers every night. And I finally told her, I said, what's more important? Is it more important for you to hit this goal, or is it more important for you to have the tab and crackers at night? And I remember like when I made her think about that, she made the decision that the discipline of not having the tab and crackers every night before bed was not as important as hitting her goal. And that's when she really started to see results. So we have to learn to not let our feelings run our lives, which I think a lot of people do. Is I hear people will say, well, I had to eat that because I was stressed, or I had to do that. It's like, you don't have to eat that, because that food, going to that food, and you're not going to win every battle here. Sometimes we're going to break, but you got to start getting more wins and losses. And I see this a lot with clients where there's always an excuse. Well, I was really tired from work, or I was stressed, or whatever. And we got to start. I got this from a pastor in a sermon. I thought that was a great thing, as he talked about, we don't always feel like doing something, or we feel like doing, but we have to start doing the thing that we know we're supposed to do, even if we don't feel like it. And that might be, man, I really feel like eating that dessert that's sitting in my freezer, but it's 9:00 at night. And I know I shouldn't do that if I'm working towards a goal. So you have to really decide what you want. And if you say, you know what, I'm happy with the way I am, and I don't want to move forward, that's fine. That's cool. But when you always let your feelings win, and I know this may sound kind of harsh, it's hard to get mad and get frustrated when, it's the simple thing is to discipline yourself. And one way to do that is go do something to occupy your mind. If you're sitting there thinking about food, go read a book, go do something, go get on a house project going. They always change the channel, because start to look for those triggers. What's triggering that, and if you can't, if you feel like there's a certain food that's like my kryptonite, if I have it in the house, I give it to it, get it out of the house. It does not need to be there. Don't use the excuse of, well, my kids, my spouse, or whatever. Nobody's that's bulletproof that they're not going to give into it. I know there's people that have things in their house and they think they're going to win the temptation battle, and more often than not, they don't. So we have to get a focused and disciplined mindset first and foremost, and decide what's important to us. So that's number one. Number two is caloric deficit. All right. We have to get 20% down from our maintenance consistently. And this is why it's so important to track, because if we set your calories at 1,400 and one day you're at 1,600, the other day you're at 1,200, one day you're at 1,500, if you're all over the place, we don't know if that 1,400 is right. Because a lot of times you'll see we'll use a formula, we'll set up a caloric target, and that's just a starting point. And we don't know if it's going to work until you hit that target. And so we still have to be 20% probably below maintenance to start out. We want to find out where that maintenance is first, and we have to guess a little bit. Sometimes we hit it on the first try. But what I see a lot of times, people will say, well, I'm eating keto, I'm eating low carb, but they're still above maintenance. There's a guy I went to high school with that I'm working with right now, and he's like, yeah, I eat keto all the time. And then he started actually tracking his food. Well, he eats 2,000 calories a meal of keto, and it's over his calorie limit. So that's why he's not losing weight. And I keep trying to tell him that you don't just have a blank check with protein and fat. Just because you're not eating carbs doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. You can still go over. If you're not in a deficit, your body has no reason to go into the reserves, the fat, and get that extra energy out and burn it up for extra fuel. And that's the consistency and the tracking part I talked about, because if you're not hitting that consistently, we don't know if it's the right number. If it's all over the place, it's still a moving target. And we don't want to drop too quickly with caloric deficit, because when you drop too quickly, that a lot of times will starve off muscle tissue. So you see people that do these crash diets and they lose a lot of weight, and they don't really lose a lot of they lose a lot of muscle weight along with the fat, and so they get that skinny fat look where their skin's loose, they're not really tight, but they look a lot smaller. But a lot of times they're the same shape, but they're just a smaller version of that shape. And because you starve off muscle, and muscle is so important for your metabolism, that's why they gain the weight back even faster, because you're killing your metabolism. And when you cut too quick, a lot of times too, if you stay low, if you do extreme cutting, your body's eventually, your thyroid and your leptin is going to slow down. Your hormones are basically going to slow everything down, and that's where you get that plateau. You see people lose weight and then all of a sudden they're just stuck. I believe it's a good way to do 50. It's good to make small changes. Once again, going back to tracking, is add a little bit of activity, cut a little bit of calories instead of just a massive calorie cut. And you see programs out there, like MetaFast and these low calorie things, and you lose weight, but it's not always the right kind of weight. And I don't see anybody come into the studio and say, well, my goal is to be skinny fat. They say, I want to be toned. I hear toned. And toned means you're going to maintain muscle or add muscle while you lose body fat. And you don't want to starve off that precious muscle, because that's just setting you up for a nasty rebound. So you got to make sure you're in a caloric deficit, even if you're doing keto or low carb. So that's really, really important. That's the first thing that needs to happen. Number 3 is going to be hormonal balance. So this is another big one I see, is people eat things that look like they're spiking their blood sugar. So that kind of shoots me back up to number 1, is when your blood sugar is unstable, your body tends to produce more of the hormone insulin. And when you have elevated levels of the hormone insulin, it is really, really hard to burn fat, even if you're in a caloric deficit. So this is why it's the other important part, is you've got to make sure you're eating things that are going to keep eating in such a way to keep your blood sugar stable. Because when you keep your blood sugar stable, your insulin levels will lower, and that puts your body in a hormonal environment to burn fat. So if you're seeing sugar in people's diets every day, at least once a day, they're spiking their blood sugar, and they're keeping it just off enough where their body's probably somewhat elevated in insulin levels. And we want to make sure the first thing we want to do is choose our carbohydrates wisely. So low glycemic carbohydrates. And simplest way to know if it's a low glycemic carbohydrate is if it's something that has very few ingredients and is pretty natural. All right. So examples, I'll put out low glycemic versus high glycemic. A sweet potato versus a instant mashed potatoes. So anything that's instant, you're probably going to see on the box a lot of ingredients. It cooks in a minute. That food's been altered to cook in a minute. So guess what it's going to do? If it cooks quickly, it's going to break down quickly. When a food breaks down quick, you're going to see your blood sugar elevate very quickly, and that's going to force your body to release a lot of insulin to counteract that. So something like a potato, oatmeal versus like a breakfast cereal. Think about breakfast cereal. That's one of the notorious things. Like people a lot of times can have more than one bowl. Who here has ever eaten more than one bowl of oatmeal, has had a big bowl of oatmeal and said, you know what, I could eat another bowl of that? Why is that? Because there's bulk, there's fiber, it's a natural food. It's very satisfying versus if you took a bowl of, let's say, Lucky Charms, all right? It's a grain, right? But who's here's eaten more than one bowl of Lucky Charms? I know I have, or fill in the blank for your favorite cereal, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. My daughter loves this one Crave. I mean, breakfast cereal, a lot of sugar, not a lot of fiber, very processed. You know what these high glycemic foods are. Something like that is going to be a good example. Or, you've also got your rice, but then once again, the rice that's a slow cooking rice versus the quick minute rice. You see, so not all rice is created equal. So the more natural that rice is, if you're getting it from the bins or from the big packets and you're cooking it longer, I know we do wild rice, and that takes a while to cook. If it cooks longer, it takes longer to cook. Guess what? It's going to break down longer in your system, and that's going to create a less of an insulin spike because it's going to take your body longer. If it breaks down quick, it's going to spike your blood sugar, even if it doesn't so-called have sugar in it. So, and then sugar, your sugar from fruit. So fruits like apples, they have sugar in them, but it's natural sugar versus a sugar from like a caribou drink or sugar from candy. So we're talking about, low glycemic things. You could even take another good example I like to use is apples. You're at a Super Bowl party, right? You've got a bowl of apples and a bowl of pretzels, both carbohydrates. Apples have sugar, pretzels do not. What bowl gets refilled? Does anybody here ever eaten a whole bowl of apples? You ever see the host come around and go, oh, dang it, the bowl's empty again. I got to refill the apples. Who chowed on the bowl of apples? You have one apple and you're good to go, right? That's a low glycemic food versus a high glycemic. Even though apples have sugar, pretzels do not. But you can think about a bag of pretzels. You can keep eating. You almost get more hungry as you eat those things. So that's a good way to look at a low glycemic versus high glycemic food, a more natural carbohydrate. The less man has messed with it, the probably more low glycemic it has been. So choose your carbohydrates wisely. Typically your quinoas, your rice, your potatoes, your oatmeals. The breakfast cereal, probably if you're a breakfast cereal, Kashi's not a bad choice. Probably the best choice you're going to find. There are some decent breakfast cereals. They're just not a lot out there, and they're usually pretty expensive. And the thing I like about oatmeal is because you can actually add fruit to it. You can add a little cinnamon. You can do things. Oatmeal on its own is pretty bland and tasteless, but I don't know anybody here that likes to eat oatmeal on its own. But then also the oatmeal, the flavored oatmeal. Once again, there's a good example. The instant flavored oatmeal, guess what they do to put the flavor in? They put the refined sugar in it. So add your own sugar, add blueberries, do something like that. If you like to sweeten stuff too, I personally like stevia or Truvia is a pretty popular one. That's probably one of the best sweeteners out there you can use. But we don't want to spike our blood sugar, so we want to pick our carbs wisely. And then the other one is protein. We always preach protein. People always think, well, protein's for muscle. It's all about building muscle. But protein is actually the hardest macronutrient for your body to break down. So your body has to work the hardest to break down protein. So when you add protein to a meal, it really slows down the emptying time of the entire meal. And protein actually takes calories to actually process. So it actually kicks up your calorie burning because your body actually has to burn calories to break protein down. And so having adequate protein at every meal, so a meal would be 20 to 30 grams and a snack 10 to 20 grams. So if you put that into context, one egg is only 6 grams. I hear a lot of people will say, well, I had an egg. Well, an egg's 6 grams. You got to get to 20 grams. That's not enough protein to make it count. So I think a lot of times I see people, they'll have a good source of protein, but not enough. And getting that protein up really will control that appetite and it will control that blood sugar, thus putting you in a good hormonal environment. And so 20 to 30 grams at a meal, 10 to 20 grams at a snack. Fiber, 20 to 25 grams for the ladies, 30 to 35 grams for guys. And fiber, think about oatmeal. Once again, high fiber food, a lot of bulk, makes you feel full. That's like them. A lot of times vegetables don't have a lot of calories, but they have a lot of bulk and fiber. They make you feel full. Something like, chips, not a lot of fiber, don't make you feel very full. So fiber adds bulk to the food. It's good to help we all know it helps your digestive system, but also because fiber and protein really slow down that emptying time of that meal, that also helps keep your blood sugar stable and keeps your hormone insulin under control. And then good fats, using your good peanut butters, your almond butters, coconut oil, avocados or guac, olive oil, olives, even the meat, even like from like a lean beef or salmon, those types of fats. Anything with no trans fats, anything from nothing fried. Those are all good sources of fat. So don't be afraid to add some healthy oils. The only oil I would avoid is vegetable oils just because they're pro-inflammatory. They have a lot of big omega-6s. So I would use like avocado oil, olive oil, coconut oil, and stay away from like canola oil and like, your Crisco and all those ones in the Pam, the vegetable oil. So, that is going to add a lot of inflammation, especially if you got joint issues. You're not going to like that. If you've ever done, like when I go up north, my dad uses Crisco to cook fish and everything. And I can always tell when I eat that stuff, and it's just like my joints feel like, I feel like the Tin Man when I eat that stuff. So good fats along with fiber and protein will also slow down that emptying time of the meal. And then the last piece, this is something we can all do. And I know it's something I've had to work on, is eat slow. I know when Beth did one of these, she cited a study, and this really stuck with me, is they did a study, and I saw this in our precision nutrition book, is that when you eat fast, it's one of the fastest ways to spike your blood sugar. So by eating fast and cramming things in your mouth, like you see people driving down the road, cramming food in their mouth, that's another way to spike your blood sugar. So the number one thing is don't spike your blood sugar, and that will keep your hormones, your especially your hormone insulin, which is your big player, that'll keep that hormone insulin in balance so you can burn fat. So that's what's really important. So make sure every meal, I would say every meal has at least, if you're eyeballing it and you don't know what 20, 30 grams of protein is, think about the size for ladies, about the size of your palm is going to be a good one. For us guys, about 2 sizes of your palm is good if you're eyeballing a piece of meat, if you're not sure how many ounces it is. And back to protein real quick, an ounce of meat is about 7 grams. So when you're looking at like a chicken breast, 3 to 4 ounce chicken breast is going to get you right there. A scoop of protein powder is about 25 grams. So it's not as hard to get as people think. And just consistently hitting that should make a big difference in how you feel. And that should help you stay under control. And once again, when your blood sugar is stable, you're going to be less likely to go in and start chowing on something sugar. Physiologically, you're going to be in a better position where you're not hungry and having those cravings. And then on the other side of it, the flip side of it is make sure why we don't want to skip meals, because if your blood sugar, when we talked about your blood sugar going up, well, when your blood sugar dives because we've skipped meals, we go too long without eating. When your blood sugar dives down, your body's going to freak out and release cortisol, which is going to sound the alarm. We need sugar. We're in trouble. Blood sugar's low. So that's another reason for not skipping meals when we talk about skipping meals, because if our blood sugar dives down, that's going to set us up. And we've all done this. I know I've done this, where you've waited too long to eat. You get home and it's been like 6 or 7 hours, and you could eat the whole house, right? Because your blood sugar's in the tank, your body's starving. So don't let it get to that point. So a lot of times people will say, well, I'm not hungry at 3 o'clock. Well, have a little snack anyway, because you might be not hungry at 3 o'clock, but you might be ravenous at 6 o'clock. So if you have that tendency, sometimes that's where snacks can be good. If you're not doing snacks, if you're doing 3 meals a day, but that third meal, that dinner meal's looking like twice the size of your other 2 meals, a lot of times putting those snacks in and adding those in and spacing those calories out, it's going to be much more effective. You might eat the same amount of calories, but spread out over time is going to be much better versus, eating 70% of your calories at dinner at night, a couple hours before bed. And that's where people get into trouble, because they're not hungry in the morning and they go about their day, and then they maybe eat some lunch, and then they get going, and then they get home at night and they're super hungry. And you see like most of their calories being consumed at night. And then they go to bed a couple hours later and it's maybe still sitting in their stomach because it doesn't all digest it. They get up in the morning, they're not hungry, and they repeat the cycle. So you're better off kind of loading those calories earlier in the day, or at least having an evenly spaced meals versus loading heavy at night at dinner. That's another thing that I see a lot of people do. So space those calories out. Some people do good with 3 meals a day. Some do 3 meals and 1 snack. Some do good with 3 meals and 2 snacks, or 3 meals and 3 snacks. You got to figure out what's right for you. I have clients that do all of the above. I do 3 meals and 2 snacks, but I've found out over time that's what really keeps me under control. I just got home from work before this, and I wasn't that hungry. I had a good dinner, and I wasn't like ravenous starving, even though it was a long day, because I just did exactly what you preach. I had a snack about mid-afternoon and came home and just had a nice dinner, but wasn't like grabbing things all over the place, and it was a long day. So those things can help prevent those breakdowns at night and from you going off the reservation. And so let's see, that kind of goes into that's number 4, is just being able to space those meals out more evenly and not backloading your calories. So I always call it front load your calories, because in the morning you're fasted, so your body's usually depleted of nutrients. So you're kind of like a dry sponge. You're going to pick up those nutrients much better. Plus during the day you're active, so you're actually going to be able to use those calories. Whereas if you're eating 6 or 7 o'clock at night and you're going to bed at 9 or 10, typically you're not as active at night. Most people aren't. And so you're not really doing anything with those calories. So I like to have people load their calories earlier in the day, and it's an adjustment, but when they get there, it definitely yields better results. And so that's the other thing that I was going to say, is that just make sure you're spacing your calories out wisely throughout the day and not overloading them at night, because that's one thing that keeps people stuck as well. Number 5 is going to be foundational supplementation. And that's, I think, just as well as people do with food, most of us aren't going to eat 7 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. I think a lot of people are kind of generous in that department, but, thinking about solid, good fruits and vegetables, like ketchup is not a vegetable. The fruit cup you grabbed at Quick Trip is not a really good source of fruit. So it's just a good insurance policy, because vitamins, especially now, I think after 2020, everybody's a little more health conscious. Vitamins are going to help your body function optimally, and that includes your immune system, that includes your metabolism, that includes your body's ability to pull energy from the food you're eating. So I'm a big believer in a multivitamin, USP grade certified. That means that it's been certified by a third body, because in the supplement industry, you can just put something out there like food. Well, just think if like penicillin was ordered like food. Lori, you're a nurse. You know how that if they just had random pills of penicillin, they're all different milligrams, that would not be good, right? But that's how supplements are just basically ordered like food. They're just basically, they say, well, is it safe to consume? But is there consistency from pill to pill? No, not always. It's not mandatory. All they want to know is that it's safe to consume. But if you don't have consistency and it doesn't dissolve within 30 minutes, that's not probably going in your system. That's probably going right through your system. And if there's not consistency from pill to pill, what if you had penicillin and you gave somebody 500 milligrams in one shot and 50 milligrams in the other? That wouldn't be good. Or some other drug like oxycodone or something like that, right? Lori Nelson, the nurse, that would be good, right? A big thumbs down, right? But that's what a lot of supplement companies do. So make sure you get one that's a USP certified or has some type of third-party identification. That's one I like to use. So a multivitamin just covers all your basic foundational needs. It just fills in gaps. You're going to get some from your food, but you're probably not going to get the optimal amount. And that's going to help reduce inflammation in the body as well. And that's going to help your body work better. Think about it like a car engine is, your carbohydrates, proteins, and fats are like your fuel. Your water is like your oil. Your vitamins and minerals are like spark plugs. They make everything happen. You could have all the gas in your car, but if your spark plugs aren't working, your car's not going anywhere. So they're just like helping the cylinders fire correctly. The other one is probiotics. I'm a big believer is gut health more and more. And you guys have probably seen this in the mainstream media, that gut health is huge. That has a lot to do with your immune system. A big part of your immune system lives in your gut. They call it your second brain. Has an overall big indicator of your health. So one of the things with gut health is having enough good, healthy bacteria on board. And if you don't, that's going to compromise your ability to absorb the nutrients and get rid of basically absorb the good stuff, get rid of the bad stuff. So our family, we've been using probiotics for 8 years, and I can totally tell a difference when we run out. And I don't know, knock on wood, we haven't had, we really haven't had a flu outbreak here. And I think since we started using those, it's been a long time since we've had like major, a flu thing in this family, and generally pretty healthy. And I think a lot of that has to do with just paying attention. A simple digestive health thing you can do is probiotics. And then the other one is omega-3s. We talk about inflammation. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. They also help with your cognition, your brain, which your brain controls everything, your nervous system and your cardiovascular system. They all support all three of those. And most American diets are really high in omega-6s, which are pro-inflammatory, which omega-6s are considered an essential fatty acid. But when we have too much of it, we have too much inflammation. That's not a good thing. Inflammation on its own is not a bad thing. It's just the amount of inflammation. So we want to balance that off with omega-3s. Yes, you can eat salmon every day if you want, but then you risk an issue of having mercury. I think salmon's good, but you got to be careful how much you eat, because those fatty fish, typically you could have a mercury issue. So that's what I would do. Those three: multivitamin, probiotic, omega-3. Those would be your top three in terms of supplementation. Anything else, if you needed some other specialty things, I know some people have worked with my wife works with Dr. Warren, the functional medicine doctor. I know some of our clients have worked with them, and they have some specialty things based on, conditions. But I think everybody should be on those three, no matter what your conditions are. And that's just a thing. And the nice thing is we just started carrying a company called ID Life. So if anybody's ever looking for get a little more dialed in, one of the cool things they did, one of the things that drew me to this company is called Individual Developed Plans. It's individually developed. They have a health assessment you can take, and that'll actually put together a vitamin pack based on your needs. So like if you're in Minnesota, actually if like what state you live in and what season is it? So when I started, it was Minnesota in the winter. So guess what I got? I got a lot of vitamin D, and I got a lot of omegas, because omegas help vitamin D absorb. So it was really cool. And then gut health. And I have another client right now I put on there that has some gut issues, and they loaded him up on probiotics. So it's kind of cool. You go through and it asks you lots of questions on that thing. So hold on a sec, guys. My computer's about to die. I'm just going to plug myself in so I don't lose you guys. Give me a sec here.
Maybe in the meantime, we could all say happy birthday to Lori. Today's her birthday. Yes.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Lori.
Happy birthday, Lori.
Happy birthday.
25.
Wait, what did
Happy
you say?
25th.
Oh, yep, 25.
Yay.
Thank you guys.
So I figured what I do here, you guys, is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to just show you really quick. I mean, those of you, I'm just going to show you like basically what I think is the most effective way to use MyFitnessPal. So a lot of times we give you guys targets to hit, and here's the best way to hit them I found. And this is, I think, a game changer if you do this. And it's also going in with being proactive and planning. So I'm going to share my screen here and pull up MyFitnessPal if I can get it up here. Hold on.
Erik, when can I ask a question?
Go ahead and ask one right now.
You know, I'm doing that cleanse this week, and
Yep.
instead of drinking the Advocare fiber, I made the muffins. You impressed upon me the need for protein at breakfast, but I'm supposed to have 2 of the muffins. So how do I get my protein in, or do the muffins have protein?
The muffins don't, so you would just add in like, I would just add in like some eggs. You could do, you know, some cottage cheese, some, I know you like yogurt, Greek yogurt. You could eat that on the side.
Okay,
So yeah, the easy way to think of proteins is something from most stuff from an animal is going to be a protein, like dairy, fish, meat. Things
okay.
from a plant are going to be carbohydrates. Now there's a few exceptions like soy, like you can get some, you know, tofu and some of the vegetarian proteins. But in general, if you're looking for protein, I would go with these, you know, stuff from like an animal is like an easy way to think. Well, I said somebody once and that made a lot of sense to them, you know, because sometimes
thought-
people go, what's a carb? What's a protein?
I thought you were supposed to have 2 muffins. So I
Yeah.
thought, well, that's all you're supposed to have for the meal.
Nope. You should probably have the muffins would be like be just like drinking one of the fiber packs. Well, it's really kind of a carb because it is a carb. So I would balance it off with I'd always have a carb and a protein at every meal.
Okay,
So I would have some eggs. I know you do. Well, I know you do eggs and yogurt. I look at your food journal every week. You could do either or.
yeah, I do that.
So you can't really, well, you could even do like just some, you know, you could even do it with one of those shakes too, you know, if you wanted to.
Oh, with the muffin?
Yep.
I thought that'd be too
Yeah,
much.
because sometimes you can drink your protein in the morning. People aren't that hungry. A lot of times that's a good time to drink the protein. So,
Okay,
all right. So I'm going to do FitnessPal here. Now, one thing about FitnessPal, can you guys all see FitnessPal here up on my thing? Okay. FitnessPal, I know a lot of us use it on our phones. I personally like to use it on a laptop better. That's just me. You can do this on the phone. I just find it a little bit easier. So if you've been using FitnessPal for a while, which a lot of you have, I'm just going to show you because I've been using this. I'm going to go into tomorrow for myself. Now I've gotten, the nice thing about FitnessPal, I've gotten to the point where I kind of know where I need to be every day. And so I'm going to pop in a lot of my foods and you're going to see how quickly this is. So you're going to go into your stored foods. So a lot of times I do. And the nice thing is you can notice it actually stores the amounts or the portion sizes as well as the food. So there's my breakfast. That's in the kitty. And that's why it's important. Like I do this will be like for tomorrow. And I'll put in things that I normally eat. I know I'm weird. I eat oatmeal for lunch. I like oatmeal. It's like my favorite carb, but you don't have to be weird like me. And then typically I'll do like, I'll do like another energy. This is like a Spark. I've been using these bars. I'll do an Advocare shake and a banana post-workout. And so I got my meals, my snacks, and literally I can do this really quick because, you know, frankly, I eat a lot of the same things, similar things, and not always exactly the same. And now I can kind of see where I'm at. All right. So I got all my targets at the bottom of the page. So I'm sitting pretty good, 2,400. I'm 41 calories over. My carbs are dead on. I didn't plan that. Fat's really close. Protein's really close. And that's my day right there. And how many, that was like maybe 2 minutes, if that. So I do that. And now I know, okay, here's what I've got available for me tomorrow. Or if I'm going to lunch somewhere, which I am actually. I'm actually going to lunch tomorrow. So if I know, like, okay, tomorrow I'm meeting some friends for lunch at Lakeville Brewery, and this is where I think you really, if you're entering FitnessPal and you're playing catch up, a lot of times you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh, I'm out of calories and I still got dinner to go, and now what do I do? And so like I'm going to, I'm just going to see what they have in here because I'll have the Thai chicken salad. I'm going to Lakeville Brewery and they have a Thai chicken salad I like. So I'm just going to pop that in. And then what I do when I eat out is I always add a quarter of a serving. So I don't just go with one. I just assume it's going to be higher. So I'll overshoot it, pop it in there, and let's see where I end up. That's pretty low. So I'm still good, but that helps me plan out my day. So 1.25, that might not be exactly where I'm at, but the point is you're going to have certain numbers that, especially your calories, but then your macro, your carbs, proteins, and fats, and you can kind of put this stuff in ahead of time, and you don't have to be right on, but if you're in the general range, you're going to be pretty good. But it's what a lot of people I found did, and this is one thing with FitnessPal, is what they do is they just start entering throughout the day and they don't really keep track. Now, if you're like me, like I eat a lot of the same things every day, so it's pretty easy. But if, like you said, you're meeting a friend for lunch, going out to dinner, and you want to be consistent on hitting your numbers, I would really recommend putting them in the day before. Then you know what you're going to do. Okay, I've got some eggs for breakfast. I got some beef I can make for dinner, versus you're playing that guessing game and you're just kind of hoping it's going to land in place, but you're going to be a little more exact. And if you could plan this out, like you saw how fast I could do that. Now I couldn't always do it that fast, but I know this 2,400 calories is about where I need to be for maintenance for myself. And if I'm at or below that every day, that's pretty good. And, I know some days I'm not going to be, but if I'm consistently putting this in consistently, now I'm not saying every single day, but I'm consistently doing it, pretty soon you're going to kind of get into a rhythm and you're going to kind of know, you saw how quickly I put that in. It wasn't like I knew that. It's just like I've done this so many times. It's like I kind of know where I'm at and I'm dialed in. This is how many calories I eat in a day. This is what I eat. This varies a little bit, but not much. And really, frankly, success is kind of boring. When you're during the work week, if you can keep your options kind of minimal, you're going to have more success. If you're always trying to change things every day, it's going to be really hard to find consistency. So, I would probably look at that and look at my lunch and you'd say, well, I could probably have a little more at lunch. So if I added a chicken breast, that would put me up a little bit more, but I'm still a little bit under, but I could add in a little bit more to my lunch and dinner and get closer to my calorie goal. So if I feel like I'm too low. But the point being is that now you've got your plan laid out for you and your numbers are close or where they should be. And now you just have to go and walk it out the next day. So that's the way I like to use FitnessPal. And I think that's the most effective way I've found to use this, really make this app sing and work good. I mean, you can do it on your phone, but I like it on the computer because you can see how quickly I can click everything in. It's a little sometimes more cumbersome on the phone. So I hope that makes sense.
Do you ever use the quick tools piece?
What's that?
The quick tools in your journal?
No, I don't use those.
That's how you save. If you want to save a whole meal, you can click on quick tools and save the meal. And then you just go under your meal tab. That's even faster.
Yeah.
Is that a premium feature,
Nope.
Tracy, or that's not? Okay.
Yeah, just where he had the food, like for breakfast, if that's his breakfast every day, it's either add food or quick tools. And one of the other options is copy yesterday, copy from date. And so that's how I enter my food sometimes, is I'll go like copy last Monday, copy yesterday, and it just drags your foods over. So
yeah, Tracy, I do that same thing. Like I have a salad that I make each day for lunch and it's like a meal, and I just do my spring mix salad that has all the things I put in it and just quick add that. So it's all there and that works out nicely.
Fast. We like
that's
fast.
Awesome. Yeah. That's why it's a slick app. I mean, I think once you use it the right way, it really makes it simple. And after a while, like I said, I really don't, like right now during the week, I really don't have to enter because I know exactly where I'm at every day. Like that's how but just by using this app like that, I know that, and now if I want to gain or add, if I want to gain or lose, I can adjust that. But I know like right now, that's where I want to be. That's kind of where I want to be, is kind of in the maintenance mode. So I know that's where I'm gonna be, but I can adjust that down now because I know that's consistently, I'll stay at about 200 pounds at that amount of calories. But if I want to move, I know where I'm at. But that's why it's so important to know, track and find out where you're at. Okay, here's why I'm kind of my maintenance is. And then I know if I start moving down, then I'm sure that I'm not just guessing. I don't know whoever came up with 1,200 calories a day, but I talked to one of our other people in Jumpstart today, and very active. And she's like, well, I don't have any energy. Well, the calories are 1,200. I'm like, your calories are way too low for all the stuff this person's doing. I'm like, your calories are really, so we jacked your calories up a little bit, not a lot, about 200-300 calories, but that's where I said, let's go there and see if your energy picks up. Because the conversation was, maybe I'm doing more than I can. Well, and I looked at like, well, you're doing you're a very active person. I mean, you need more calories. I don't know why 1,200 is the magic number everybody thinks you need to be at. So that's why I like doing the formulas. And then formula, we use that Recomp formula, is really good because it actually takes into account what you do for work during the day. So if you sit at a desk, it takes that into account. But if you're like on your feet moving around, I mean, I know like on my Fitbit, when I work with clients, I have a lot more steps than when I do office work. It's night and day. Even with COVID, when we were doing Zooms, I could see my steps just start to plummet because I wasn't in the gym working with clients as much. So when we went to more virtual stuff, so it's just kind of one of those things I think that you want to take that into account too, is like a lot of people just automatically go to 1,200 calories a day. And if you start too low, that's what happens. And this person was like, I don't feel like I'm getting any leaner. I just feel like I get really tired, and then I get hungry, and then I kind of blow my nutrition. And you could see it, it was like, there is some stuff in there that, wasn't really good fuel source. I said, well, there's like 3 or 4 days. And she's like, well, yeah, I got really tired. And then I just, then it's like that started to affect my eating. And then I was, even though our calories are low, there wasn't even good fuel source. But for what this person's doing, it definitely needs more fuel, for your body. Because remember, you got to recover from the workouts. Otherwise, workouts aren't going to feel good anymore, and you're not going to make progress. So, once if you start going too low, you start eating up muscle, and your performance starts to drag, not just in the gym, but in life in general. So I would encourage everybody to use that Fitness Pal and really, get consistent with your numbers and not be all over the place. So you can start to know exactly where you need to be. Once you know that, you could even go a couple of days without entering, and you probably know, right? You probably have it in your head what you need to be eating, and have those staples that you eat every day, and you'll be golden. So, anything else? So everybody's going to have to, for the test, we're going to have to show me how to, we should have you guys do like a practical and set up your Fitness Pal, and we'll put a stopwatch on you. How's that sound? 2 minutes or less?
You can do it.
2 minutes or less. Tracy, I know you could do it. All right, guys. Well, that's what I got for you
That
tonight.
might be a lot.
Hopefully that was
Thank
helpful
you.
with some review. Let's go get
I
it.
always get something out of these, Erik.
Yep.
Good.
The reminder of the glycemic foods, low glycemic and
Yeah.
high glycemic. That was a really good way to remember them, like the most natural form. So.
And this is about, we always say it's 70 to 80% of your results. I don't know what the accuracy, but it is a big part of it. So, put the work in here. I mean, you put the work in the gym, like some of these workouts we put you guys through are really tough. And it's like, I always think like, man, I mean, some of these workouts we give you guys are really tough to go through. So I want you guys to see the fruits of your results in terms of your body transformation. And so do the work on the other side of the nutrition, so you can see like the results of all these crazy workouts that we make you guys do. So, especially next week, we're starting this rapid fat loss protocol in the groups. So those are tough workouts. And so when you do the eating right, that really is like burning the candle at both ends. And, just coming from the fitness field, like people, I know that's extreme and it's not a big percentage, but people always ask you how you get that lean. And I said, the big game changing thing we do, the only thing that really changes is the nutrition, as that's the big game changer, and nobody's here is going to do something that crazy. That's for crazy people like myself, but that is the game changer, right? That I get people ask me that all the time. Like, how do you get abs? How do you see definition? What exercises will I do? Well, it's not going to matter what exercise you do if you don't work on the nutrition. So really prioritize that thing. And it's a process. I found where I needed to be at. It didn't happen overnight, but when you have a great app like MyFitnessPal, we never used to have that. It makes it a lot easier to find, to get some consistency and find where you should be, and start to get some structure and consistency with what you're doing. So That's what I got, ladies. Let you get back to your night. Thanks for being on. This will be recorded if you want to watch it again. And we'll see you guys, some of you guys Saturday. Hopefully all you guys. So
Thanks,
Okay.
Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.